Hadīth 58. Narrated Qasim bin Muhammad, 3 traditions have been established because of Barira. Aisha intended to buy her and set her free, but Barira's masters said, her wallah will be for us. Aisha mentioned that to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, who said, you could accept their condition if you wished, for the wallah is for the one who manumits the slave. Barira was manumitted, then she was given the choice either to stay with her husband or leave him. One day, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, entered Aisha's house while there was a cooking pot of food boiling on the fire. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, asked for lunch, and he was presented with bread and some extra food from the homemade Al-Udm, for example, soup. He asked, don't I see meat being cooked? They said, yes, O Allah's Apostle. But it is the meat that has been given to Barira in charity and she has given it to us as a present. He said, for Barira it is alms, but for us it is a present. Hadīth 59. Narrated Aisha, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, used to love sweet edible things and honey. Hadīth 60. Narrated Abu Hurairah, I used to accompany Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, to fill my stomach, and that was when I did not eat baked bread, nor wear silk. Neither a male nor a female slave used to serve me, and I used to bind stones over my belly and ask somebody to recite a Quranic verse for me though I knew it, so that he might take me to his house and feed me. Ja'far bin Abi Talib was very kind to the poor, and he used to take us and feed us with whatever was available in his house, and if nothing was available, he used to give us the empty, honey or butter, skin which we would tear and lick whatever was in it. Hadīth 61. Narrated Anas, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, went to the house of his slave tailor, and he was offered a dish of gourd of which he started eating. I have loved to eat gourd since I saw Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, eating it. Hadīth 62. Narrated Abu Mas'ud al-Ansari, there was a man called Abu Shu'aib, and he had a slave who was a butcher. He said to his slave, prepare a meal to which I may invite Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, along with 4 other men. So he invited Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, and 4 other men, but another man followed them, whereupon the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, you have invited me as one of 5 guests, but now another man has followed us. If you wish you can admit him, and if you wish you can refuse him. On that, the host said, but I admit him. Narrated Muhammad bin Ismail, if guests are sitting at a dining table, they do not have the right to carry food from other tables to theirs, but they can pass on food from their own table to each other, otherwise they should leave it. Hadīth 63. Narrated Anas, I was a young boy when I once was walking with Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, entered the house of his slave tailor and the latter brought a dish filled with food covered with pieces of gourd. Allah's Apostle started picking and eating the gourd. When I saw that I started collecting and placing the gourd before him. Then the slave returned to his work. Anas added, I have kept on loving gourd since I saw Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, doing what he was doing. Hadīth 64. Narrated Anas bin Malik, a tailor invited the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, to a meal which he had prepared, and I went along with the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. The tailor presented barley bread and soup containing gourd and cured meat. I saw the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, picking the pieces of gourd from around the dish, and since then I have kept on liking gourd. Hadīth 65. Narrated Anas, I saw the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, being served with soup and containing gourd and cured meat, and I saw him picking and eating the pieces of gourd. Hadīth 66. Narrated Aisha, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, did not do that is, forbade the storage of the meat of sacrifices for 3 days, except, he did so so that the rich would feed the poor. But later we used to keep even trotters to cook, 15 days later. The family of Muhammad did not eat wheat bread with meat or soup to their satisfaction for 3 successive days. Hadith 67. Narrated Anas bin Malik, a tailor invited Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, to a meal which he had prepared. I went with Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, to that meal, and the tailor served the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, with barley bread and soup of gourd and cured meat. I saw Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, picking the pieces of gourd from around the dish, and since then I have kept on liking gourd. Hadith 68. Narrated Abdullāh bin Ja'far bin Abi Talib, I saw Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, eating fresh dates with snake cucumber. Hadith 69. Narrated Abu Uthman, I was a guest of Abu Hurairah for 7 days. Abu Hurairah, his wife and his slave used to get up and remain awake for 1/3 of the night by turns. Each would offer the night prayer and then awaken the other. I heard Abu Hurairah saying, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, distributed dates among his companions and my share was 7 dates, one of which was a hashafah, a date which dried on the tree before it was fully ripe. Hadith 70. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, distributed dates among us, and my share was 5 dates, 4 of which were good, and 1 was a hashafah, and I found the hashafah the hardest for my teeth. Hadith 71. Aisha said, when Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, died, we had been satisfied by the 2 black things, that is, dates and water. Hadith 72. Narrated Jabir bin Abdullāh, there was a Jew in Medina who used to lend me money up to the season of plucking dates. Jabir had a piece of land which was on the way to Rumah. That year the land was not promising, so the payment of the debt was delayed 1 year. The Jew came to me at the time of plucking, but gathered nothing from my land. I asked him to give me 1 year respite, but he refused. This news reached the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, whereupon he said to his companions, let us go and ask the Jew for respite for Jabir. All of them came to me in my garden, and the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, started speaking to the Jew, but the Jew said, O Abul Qasim, I will not grant him respite. When the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, saw the Jew's attitude, he stood up and walked all around the garden and came again and talked to the Jew, but the Jew refused his request. I got up and brought some ripe fresh dates and put it in front of the Prophet. He ate and then said to me, where is your hut, O Jabir? I informed him, and he said, spread out a bed for me in it. I spread out a bed, and he entered and slept. When he woke up, I brought some dates to him again and he ate of it and then got up and talked to the Jew again, but the Jew again refused his request. Then the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, got up for the 2nd time amidst the palm trees loaded with fresh dates, and said, O Jabir, pluck dates to repay your debt. The Jew remained with me while I was plucking the dates, till I paid him all his right, yet there remained extra quantity of dates. So I went out and proceeded till I reached the Prophet and informed him of the good news, whereupon he said, I testify that I am Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Hadith 73. Narrated Abdullāh bin Umar, while we were sitting with the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, fresh dates were brought to him. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, there is a tree among the trees which is as blessed as a Muslim. I thought that it was the date palm tree and intended to say, it is the date palm tree, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, but I looked behind to see that I was the 10th and youngest of 10 men present there, so I kept quiet. Then the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, it is the date palm tree. Hadith 74. Narrated Sa'd, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, he who eats 7 Ajwa dates every morning will not be affected by poison or magic on the day he eats them. Hadīth 75. Narrated Abdullāh bin Suhaym, at the time of Ibn az-Zubayr, we were struck with famine, and he provided us with dates for our food. Abdullāh bin Umar used to pass by us while we were eating, and say, "Do not eat 2 dates together at a time, for the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, forbade the taking of 2 dates together at a time, in a gathering." Ibn Umar used to add, "unless one takes the permission of one's companions." Hadīth 76. Narrated Abdullāh bin Ja'far, I saw the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, eating fresh dates with snake cucumbers. Hadīth 77. Narrated Ibn Umar, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "There is a tree among the trees which is similar to a Muslim, in goodness, and that is the date palm tree." Hadīth 78. Narrated Abdullāh bin Ja'far, I saw Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, eating fresh dates with snake cucumbers. Hadīth 79. Narrated Anas, my mother, Sulaym, took a mud of barley grain, ground it and made porridge from it, and pressed, over it, a butter skin she had with her. Then she sent me to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and I reached him while he was sitting with his companions. I invited him, whereupon he said, "And those who are with me?" I returned and said, he says, "And those who are with me?" Abu Talha went out to him and said, "O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. It is just a meal prepared by Sulaym." The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, entered and the food was brought to him. He said, "Let 10 persons enter upon me." Those 10 entered and ate their fill. Again he said, "Let 10 more enter upon me." Those 10 entered and ate their fill. Then he said, "Let 10 more enter upon me." He called 40 persons in all. Then Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, ate and got up. I started looking at the food, to see if it decreased or not. Hadīth 80. Narrated Abdul Aziz, it was said to Anas, "What did you hear the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, saying about garlic?" Anas replied, "Whoever has eaten garlic should not approach our mosque." Hadīth 81. Narrated Jabir bin Abdullāh, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Whoever has eaten garlic or onion should keep away from us, or should keep away from our mosque." Hadīth 82. Narrated Jabir bin Abdullāh, we were with Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, collecting Al-Kabath at Mar az-Zahran. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Collect the black ones, for they are better." Somebody said, "O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Have you ever shepherded sheep?" He said, "There has been no prophet but has shepherded them." Hadīth 83. Narrated Suwayd bin Nu'man, we went out with Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, to Khaybar, and when we reached As-Sahbā, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, asked for food, and he was offered nothing but sawiq. We ate, and then Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, stood up for the prayer. He rinsed his mouth with water, and we too rinsed our mouths. Hadīth 84. Narrated Suwayd, we went out with Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, to Khaybar, and when we reached As-Sahbā, which, Yahya says, is 1 day's journey from Khaybar, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, asked for food, and he was offered nothing but sawiq which we chewed and ate. Then the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, asked for water and rinsed his mouth, and we too rinsed our mouths along with him. He then led us in the Maghrib prayer without performing ablution again. Hadīth 85. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "When you eat, do not wipe your hands till you have licked it, or had it licked by somebody else." Hadīth 86. Narrated Sa'id bin al-Harith, that he asked Jabir bin Abdullāh about performing ablution after taking a cooked meal. He replied, "It is not essential," and added, We never used to get such kind of food during the lifetime of the Prophet except rarely, and if at all we got such a dish, we did not have any handkerchiefs to wipe our hands with except the palms of our hands, our forearms and our feet. We would perform the prayer thereafter without performing new ablution. Hadith 87. Narrated Abu Umama, whenever the dining sheet of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, was taken away, that is, whenever he finished his meal, he used to say, "All praise is due to Allah, praise which is abundant, pure, and full of blessings, which is indispensable and to which one cannot be indifferent." Hadith 88. Narrated Abu Umama, whenever the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, finished his meals, or when his dining sheet was taken away, he used to say, "Praise be to Allah who has satisfied our needs and quenched our thirst. Your favor cannot be compensated or denied." Once he said, "All praise be to you, O our Lord. Your favor cannot be compensated, nor can be left, nor can be dispensed with, O our Lord." Hadith 89. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "When your servant brings your food to you, if you do not ask him to join you, then at least ask him to take 1 or 2 handfuls, for he has suffered from its heat, while cooking it, and has taken pains to cook it nicely." Hadith 90. Narrated Abu Mas'ud al-Ansari, there was an Ansari man nicknamed Abu Shu'aib, who had a slave who was a butcher. He came to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, while he was sitting with his companions and noticed the signs of hunger on the face of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. So he went to his butcher slave and said, "Prepare for me a meal sufficient for 5 persons so that I may invite the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, along with 4 other men." He had the meal prepared for him and invited him. A 6th man followed them. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "O Abu Shu'aib, another man has followed us. If you wish, you may invite him, and if you wish, you may refuse him." Abu Shu'aib said, "No, I will admit him." Hadith 91. Narrated Amr bin Umayyah, that he saw Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, cutting a piece of mutton from its shoulder part he was carrying in his hand. When he was called for prayer, he put it down and the knife with which he was cutting it. Then he stood up and offered the prayer without performing new ablution. Hadith 92. Narrated Anas bin Malik, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "If supper is served and the Iqamah for Isha, prayer is proclaimed, start with your supper first." Hadith 93. Narrated Nafi, once Ibn Umar was taking his supper while he was listening to the recitation of Quran by the Imam in the Isha prayer. Hadith 94. Narrated Aisha, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "If the Iqamah for Isha, prayer is proclaimed and supper is served, take your supper first." Hadith 95. Narrated Anas, I know about the hijab, the order of veiling of women, more than anybody else. Ubay bin Ka'b used to ask me about it. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, became the bridegroom of Zainab bin Jahash whom he married at Medina. After the sun had risen high in the sky, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, invited the people to a meal. Allah's apostle remained sitting and some people remained sitting with him after the other guests had left. Then Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, got up and went away, and I too, followed him till he reached the door of Aisha's room. Then he thought that the people must have left the place by then, so he returned and I also returned with him. Behold, the people were still sitting at their places. So he went back again for the second time, and I went along with him too. When we reached the door of Aisha's room, he returned and I also returned with him to see that the people had left. Thereupon the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, hung a curtain between me and him and the verse regarding the order for veiling of women, hijab was revealed.